Hello, hello, ladies. Taylor Thompson here, live in the She Members section here. I'm so excited to be here, and I have my beautiful, amazing friend. I can't wait to tell you about her. Now, a lot of you have already seen her. We did her story, but I really want to talk about this tonight because we have a little celebration, because Larry and I are number one bestsellers. Woo woo! We just launched our book yesterday, and we hit number one today, and I am so thrilled. And I just really, the timing couldn't be perfect. We didn't plan this, Angel.
We did it.
I will say, I mean, the timing couldn't be any more perfect because this lady right here, Miss Angel Tuccy, she is the one. I have to give her much credit as to the reason why we were able to be positioned in the manner that we were. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit because a lot of you, you're out there, you're doing your business, and you don't know how to really leverage media. You don't know how to take advantage. You don't know how to get your name out there. You can be in your own network marketing company, and that's great. And you have a great product. That's great. And maybe the company that you work with, maybe they do a great job branding the company. But, let's talk about taking it to the next level and how can you set yourself apart in an ocean of other people? What does that look like, and how can you do that? And so whenever I connected with an Angel, and she really is quite an angel because, my first experience with her was with the She Network. And Angel, oh my gosh, tell the ladies what happened with our first press release that you did for the She Network. Tell them about what happened.
I would love to. Well, first of all, congratulations, best-selling author. I just love that I get to introduce you. You get to add that to your accolades now. Super congratulations to you and Larry. We did a press release, and we're going to talk about the power of press releases today and how significant they can be to help launch your business, help launch your brand, your story, attract leads, all the fun, juicy stuff that you want to do in your business. But even your press release even blew me away, Taylor, because one of the things that when we are creating media and marketing, we want to be found when people go searching, right? We want to be, if they say, how do I, we want to show up organically, or we want that word of mouth marketing or somebody to refer us. And when they go and look us up, we want them to easily find us. Well, when we put out a press release, it improves your search results, right? Based on your business, your brand, keywords, demographics, story that you're putting out there. And Google is a search engine. So if you ask it for something, it's going to go and find everything that it can on it.
Right.
And so we put out a press release for the She Network. And there's some very common words, right? The She Network. So Google went to town to pull all of that together. And when we did your very first press release, it was just pages and pages and pages of you, Taylor, and your network. I was blown away because I'm like, there's a whole lot of stuff out there, but it was all about you and your program. And that was from your first press release. Yeah. Usually it takes, a handful. I always tell everybody they need to put out a press release once a month. I mean, and after 3, we really get cranking. Yours, you totally crushed it and dominated it right out of the gate.
Numbers. Tell the ladies the numbers, what the actual numbers were.
Oh, it was like 2.8 million.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It was, I could have written it down. It was bazonkers.
It was big. And I know that you were excited about it. And, with the longevity that you've had in the business, for you to be excited about it, I was like, okay, if she's excited about it, I'm definitely excited about it. Right. And so I wanted to, and then, so that was with the She Network. And then what we did with preparing for the launch of Larry's book, this has been my year-long project. But it's been 40 years in the making. So, all of you who are out there watching that have bought Larry's book. So here we go. I mean, this has been quite a journey for me. But 40 years in the making. But you had a lot to do with that too, because you did a press release for us, and getting the book out there and getting the information out there. So let's talk to the entrepreneurs. Let's talk to the ladies that are in the group that are, let's give them some things that they can do. And you have the authority to be able to do this, because this is what you do every day. Like, you have your background in radio, your background in broadcasting, you have a morning show now. So give them, I'm just going to let you run with it. So.
Okay. All right. Well, fabulous. Well, I just realized I've got my socks sitting here on my desk right behind me. These are my wine socks that Tina Torres brought me, but but I had just taken them off because it says, if you can read this on sock number 1, bring me some wine.
I love it.
Those are my cozy little socks. Those are from Tina Torres. Well, I think my lighting, I'm going to back it up because I think my light is just like way too bright. I don't know why it's picking up. So I feel like I'm just like a ball of light, but I'll just back it up. Okay. But I do. Okay. So this was critical. We'll talk about this, talk about PR, talk about building your business, elevating your brand, leveraging the power of media. And ladies, this is so critical for you, especially if you want to launch in a really big way. You want to make that really big impact, and you want to build your business faster. So many times in small business, we are taught a lot of busy activities to keep us busy. Where you're going to get the biggest bang for your buck is that one to many, that one to media, getting your story picked up on media platforms. Is Michelle Cunningham, is she a part of the She Network? Is she in?
Founding Circle member.
She is a Founding Circle member. Well, she was just the keynote speaker on our Connect Summit the other day, and she talked about her videos. And one of the pieces of her story, if you listen to her story, is that her YouTube channel was featured on a Good Morning on a news channel, right? I can't remember which one she said.
Good Morning America or Today Show.
It was one of those. Yeah, I had not heard her say that until just the other day, and I'm like pinged in on that, and just overnight, can instantly,
Well, unless I wanted to. I'm not an expert like you are, for sure, but I will say the thing that she didn't know that she really tapped into. She calls herself the YouTube queen, but what she did, she was in a network marketing company who has such a brilliant story. She did not have any success for the first 6 years of being in her network marketing company. Zero success. She was very much an introvert. And this is the part I love about her story, is that she just wanted to help people. So she just started going on YouTube and just sharing what she was doing to build her business, right? And because things started working for her, things that she was doing, and she started sharing it with others in a generic way. And then people started reaching out to her, because we have to remember YouTube is its own search engine, right? And so it's because she was ready to pour the value in. And I think that was really a big factor from my perspective of what led to her success. But, so anyway, I didn't want to take away from you.
No, she's and you can see the collaboration, right? And you've created something really beautiful here, Taylor, that everybody is collaborating, and our stories kind of play into each other's stories. Yeah. And we think that we're all here all alone doing kind of our own thing, and that everybody else is a competitor, right? They're all competing. But truly, when we lock arms, that there's more business out there than we can ever handle. Like, there truly is. And when you can tap into that and who you are and the purpose that you have in this world, the flow really, really makes this. It just really starts flowing faster and faster. And so love what Michelle is doing. Love what you're doing. Like, we can all, there's room for all of us to have success. And we don't have to be afraid about, I think we should be each other's cheerleaders. I think we should absolutely be each other's cheerleaders. We don't have enough of that. And when we can cheer on another, especially another mom, another woman, because we all got stuff going on in our heads, right? Like we are all our own worst critics.
Yeah.
And so let's shine the light. Let's celebrate other women's successes.
Yeah.
I got a Peloton a few months ago, and there's one of the instructors in there. She's always says, "Don't judge me, join me." And I just love that phrase. Like, let's join each other and lift each other up. So, so Michelle's got a fabulous story, but leveraged media. And she didn't even try to, right? Her story got picked up. And that's the power of media, is that even overnight while you sleep, your story can be spreading and being shared around the world through these publication sites, right? What we call other people's audiences, which is a lot of what we teach and what we tap into. But I'll tell you the very first thing that I tell you a little bit about my story of how I got started in all of this. Is I was a radio talk show host for 10 years in Denver, Colorado, which is where I'm at now. Although my house is on the market, we're selling our house, Taylor. I don't know if you knew that. We put our house on the market less than a week ago. We already have an offer, and we've got to be out of the house at the end of the month. So we're moving to Florida.
Okay, I'm jealous now. Don't tell me anymore. I don't know if I can celebrate you right now. I'll get there after my jealousy. No. I'm so happy for you. I know your daughter lives there, and that's exciting.
Both my daughters. Yes. And my son wants to move there too. We've been in this house for 21 years. He was 2 when we moved in. He had just turned 2, and he just turned 23 yesterday. So, we've been here a long time. So, but broadcasting here from Denver, did a positive business talk show. And then in a 6-minute commercial break, we would shut everything down, change studios, and I hosted a second 2-hour Christian lifestyle show. So I was hosting 4 hours of talk radio every day. And that puts me, there's less than a dozen women across the country that host 4 hours of talk radio. And so that's put me in the top 1% of my industry. And about 2.5 years ago, I came into the studio, was getting ready to produce, broadcast. And my producer called me in and said, "Angel, we've made a change." And 5 minutes later, I was being escorted out of the building with my disco ball, my cardboard box. And within the next 24 hours, my entire livelihood and career was erased. Anything that had my name on it, my picture on it, my voice image, anything recording, completely erased, which was pretty devastating. I was 48 years old. Everything I knew just seemed to be falling out from underneath me. That was the time my girls came to me and said, "Mom, we want to move from Denver to Florida and go work for Disney." My son was away at college, and so I was an empty nester. My business partner and I at the time decided that it was just time to close that down. I was really feeling like when one door closes, another opens, and decided I would go and travel and teach entrepreneurs how to leverage media, how to get booked on radio, television, magazines, podcasts. And in that first year, I spoke on over 100 stages. And Taylor, the reason this is significant is speaking on public speaking was not my gift. I barely graduated high school because you had to pass the public speaking class. And it was only because my teacher gave me a passing D because he took pity on me that I was able to graduate, because standing in front of an audience, I was just an absolute nervous wreck.
This makes me think of Larry, because he didn't graduate because he couldn't give the oral book report.
Yeah. I remember that story.
I mean, he never graduated high school because he was too shy. So there must be something about, the introverts, popping out whenever it's time. I mean, you're a great example like he is, whenever it's time. And so congratulations.
Thank you. Right. Yeah. Introverts, well, and, being on the radio, you don't have to see anybody, right? There's nobody there that you're looking at. It's just you, and you get to read your notes and you go to commercial break. Right. But being in front of a live audience was very different, but jumped out onto that bandwagon and did that. And then I should even back up even further. My husband and Jay and I actually met at an Amway meeting. That's how we ended up together. Was his sister invited him to a meeting. My mom invited me to a meeting, and that's how we met. And for that's how we dated. Our dates were team meetings and opens, and we'd fly out to California. Actually, we'd drive out in caravan with a bunch of people out to California for some of the bigger regional events that were being hosted. And so that was us up until Michael was 2. And it just got to be just too distracting. Like, we just had too many other things going on. And so, kind of a lot of our support left town. And so that, that went by the wayside, but we're actually still enrolled to this day. Like, I still use all the products.
Yeah.
And they're delivered, every month to the house, which is kind of crazy to think about, but it's really how we got our start. Neither his mom or his family or my family, we had never been business owners before. And starting out in network marketing, number one, the personal development was incredible, right? Yeah. We were reading books, we were listening to tapes, and, hanging around positive people, talking about, dreaming bigger and making an impact and residual income and being on the beaches, like all of that stuff. Neither he or I had ever grown up with. And so it opened up a whole new door and a whole new opportunity to us that we just nowhere else had been introduced to us.
Well, and it's foundational. I think it's foundational to probably most people in business, or business for themselves. So however that leads them, it's such a great foundation to learn and equip yourselves for leadership, for mindset. And so where, even if it's your launching pad, right? I mean, it's your launching pad. Whenever you say you got on 100 stages, I want to take it to this piece right here, because everybody's like, okay, how did you get, if you're not a speaker, how did you get on 100 stages? Because that would be a great thing, especially, here's the thing, like, if you have value, if you're having a value, I mean, like, sometimes people that are in network marketing, they think that they can only talk about their product or service or their opportunity. And that's not true. No. Right? You don't have to talk about X to sell Y. Right. So you can just bring value.
Right. And in fact, think about what you're most passionate about. Like, there's something that if I was to hand you a microphone or to say, hey, we're going to have you on StreamYard for half an hour, what could you speak passionately about that you don't have to research, right? That you just love. People want to pick your brain and ask you about it anyways, all of the time. Like, you are an expert. And so there is something that you are most passionate about the business, right? Is it because, is it the leadership? Is it the legacy? Is it the results from the product? Is it the people? Like, there is something about it that you are most passionate about. If you're going to speak on somebody else's stage, it's not an infomercial, right? It's not a sales pitch. If it's radio, if it's television, even, on somebody else's YouTube channel, or if they're doing a summit, in many cases, you're there to add value. Even if the audience doesn't purchase, like doesn't buy your stuff or enroll with you, the host who brings you on wants to know that you're educating or entertaining their audience, even if they don't buy. And so it's very different in that we, often think, I've got to kind of get to the sales portion of it. Like, I got to go from meet you to sell to you super fast. And if you are a guest on somebody else's, if you're speaking on somebody else's stage, a guest on somebody being interviewed on somebody else's platform, there's an instant level of trust that comes from that. Because, like, for example, here, Taylor, they already trust you. They know you, they like you, they trust you. Anybody you bring to share this stage with you, that trust transfers automatically over. So to be your guest on your show, that's an exclusive spot. It's coveted, right? There's this level of credibility that comes with it. To speak on 100 stages in a year, it's 2 stages a week. That's it. 2 a week puts you on over 100 stages a year. So we've created this magic formula of 2 platforms a week plus 1 press release a month to give you the 100 stages, to give you the 100 audiences, fresh new audiences to be in front of, and then the publicity behind it with the press releases. Because most of the time, and this is the piece that we stay busy but broke, we are talking to the same people over and over again.
Oh, stay busy but broke. That's such a great phrase right there. Well, it's such a great phrase because I find that in our space in particular, people are always getting ready to get ready.
Yeah.
I mean, and they think because they're busy or they're doing something that's their business.
Yeah.
And it's not. That's not money making activity. It's not what's going to pay the bills. And so I get really like, okay, in your business now, because if you're not talking to somebody, if you're a network marketer, if you're not talking to somebody about your product or your service or your opportunity, you're not doing your business. Everything else should be setting you up to have the conversation about your product, service, or opportunity. And if it's not, if you are not having those conversations, if you get through the day and you haven't had those conversations, then you didn't do any money making activity, right?
Right. Yes. No. It's a hobby, right? You have an expensive hobby. You don't have a business. I mean, imagine if your local gas station didn't sell any gas all day, right? The grocery store didn't make a sale all day. Like, these are, in order to stay in business, if you're in business, you've got to ring the register. You've got to bring in clients. But you're right, Taylor, like we used to file our tapes, right? And, we do all this fun stuff. We're decorating designing our business cards. Now we're doing all this stuff, especially on social media. And I think social media, it's really easy to get sucked into, scrolling through all day and commenting and thinking that was really building my business. Yeah. And those are engagement activities, right? And you need to engage. Engagement is where you build relationship. It's where you build trust. It's where you add value. But what you truly need every day is exposure. So that's kind of our umbrella.
Yeah.
And exposure is in front of somebody new, right? So you've got to be bringing new people, I call it, into your castle every single day. And so when you know your numbers, and this is a piece that that you've got to know, like, you've got to know your numbers, and you've got to know, like, your sales goals. How many people do you need to talk to in order to enroll so many? Like, doesn't matter what business you're in, right? You've got to bring people in. Whether I'm in a network marketing, it's all direct sales, right? Whether I'm selling, hamburgers in my restaurant, or, right, it's all direct sales. It doesn't even matter what the umbrella is. We all need clients, or we all need team members. We all need to enroll people. And so when we think about what your numbers are, in how many people do you need to be in front of in order to have those sales conversations, to be able to bring them in and turn them from, a prospect or a lead to an actual customer. And when you know what your number is, how many people do you need to be in front of? How many people do you need to talk to? This is where that value of being on other people's audiences, other people's platforms.
Yeah.
Because you can be in front of 10 people, 20 people, 50 people, 100 people. Twice a week is our magic number. And if you were just in front of 25 people twice a week, then that's 200 new people every single month. You can't do that one-to-one, right? You can't do that, one person at a time. Like, you're sending out like little private messages. Hey, do you want to, right? You need to do the fastest way to get there is to be a guest on somebody else's platform, speak to 25 people, and invite them into your castle.
Okay, so let's have that conversation. So, like, okay, let's just say we're talking to a network marketer, and they're like, okay, so how do I go about doing that? How to, let's talk about what are some of the practical ways they can do exactly what you're saying, because, I wouldn't know how to get on somebody's platform, and, and what am I going to talk about? Give them, is this 30-minute, if I handed you a mic conversation, is that what we're talking about here? Can you?
It is. And I'll tell you that, Taylor, most people don't even realize, like, this is a thing, right? That I could go and I could speak, or I could be invited on as a guest, right? Because I sell this item, or I just do this. But again, you're that expert. So what is the thing that you are most passionate about that ties directly back to your ideal customer? So for me, it's, media exposure. I'm the media exposure specialist. I'm going to teach you how to leverage the power of interviews to build your business, and, and press releases and publicity to build your business faster, to attract more leads faster and make more money faster. So when you think about what it is you are an expert at, right? Think about the results that you offer to people, not what you do, but what are the results that they get after they hear about your program, right? After they, what breakthrough are they going to have? What results are they going to have? And those results, number 1, 2, and 3, could be your talking points that you pitch and get to go and be a guest on somebody else's platform. So like if I was in health and wellness, right? I'm going to teach you how to release stress, sleep better at night, and, to fit in your jeans, like, after COVID. I'm just making stuff up, right? But like, these are what are the results that I'm going to get when we hear you? Right. And we're going to help you reduce stress. Right. And so it's not about your product or service, but why is that? Like, what is the result that the audience is looking for? Because you want the audience to be able to feel like, that's me. Like, she's my guy, she's the guide in my jungle. Like, I'm going through this issue, and this person that I'm listening to sounds like she might have the answer, right? She might understand me. She might get me. She might have the answer. None of that is talking about products. None of that's talking about services. It's just offering results, but putting them into 3 different bullet points that we can put into a media pitch.
So okay. So let me ask you if this is, do you find this is true? So like, first of all, finding or tapping into that excellence. That's, for me, this is exactly what this whole group, or not the whole thing, but it is one piece of the puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever I say the She Network, sharing her excellence,
Mm-hmm.
I find that women, the thing that comes the most natural for you, the thing that you could talk to anybody, anywhere, anytime about, is your thing.
Excellence. That's your excellence.
It's
Yes.
your excellence, right? But okay, so how do we get women to believe enough in themselves to know that that is their excellence?
Well,
right?
first of all,
because they think, oh, nobody wants to hear about that. Everybody knows that already.
Even if they know it, even if they've heard it before, are they doing it? Have they mastered it? Have they heard it from you? And I don't know. I used to use the example of cookbooks, but nobody has cookbooks anymore. But I would always say, did your mom own a cookbook? Did she own more than one cookbook? Like, everybody has cookbooks. It's okay that somebody else has already gone ahead and said it. It's okay that maybe somebody else is doing it. You, right? It's you and your gift. That's what makes it different. That's what makes it special.
Yeah.
People still want to follow you. They want to learn from you. If you've done it, in fact, I think it was Michelle. She says, if you've said it more than twice, now you can record it and you can teach it. But first of all, just follow your heart. Like, trust. I always say, when you follow your heart, you'll never make a mistake. When I was starting out in radio, one of the things that they offered to us was the afternoon drive time for the, to be the afternoon host, right? For the afternoon drive time. That's where you get the biggest audience. Since we were an unknown in radio, if we were going to build our audience, we needed to get the most exposure, right? It's all he with the most exposure wins, right? You can totally track your exposure at the bank. But in order to be on the afternoon drive show meant I wasn't going to be home in the afternoon when my kids got home from school. And that was a really important time for me as a mom, right? My kids were gone all day. When they'd come in, they would be chatty. They would tell me all about their day, everything that happened, who talked to who. But if I wasn't around and we waited until dinner to have that conversation, what'd you do today? Nothing. What'd you learn? Nothing. Like, it just shut down. So I knew I wanted to be home. I just always wanted to be home when my kids got home after school. Being the afternoon drive meant I would not be home when my kids got home from school. So I sat around a boardroom table with all men. I was the only woman. All these men have been in broadcasting for years. I have no experience in broadcasting. I had a podcast that had gotten discovered, which is how I ended up in broadcasting, and told them that, I was going to turn it down because it meant I wasn't ever going to be home when my kids got home. And they looked at me, Taylor, like, okay, I thought you wanted to be in radio. I thought it was important for you, for your career, like questioning me and my motives and my goals. And, I thought this was important to you. And and I think as women, we often feel like we have to choose, right? Choose between work and home, right? Business and our family. And here I was at a table and really them questioning me. Angel, you said you wanted this, and now you're telling us that that's not true. I'm like, I do want that, but not at the sacrifice of my family. Yeah. And which was a really hard conversation for me to have. So I picked the mid-morning time where I could drop my kids off at school and then drive to the studio. Well, they knew that I needed that afternoon drive. And so we were live every morning, mid-morning, and they replayed our show every afternoon for 15 months so that we could build our audience, because they knew that I needed that. But I learned that lesson, that you don't have to sacrifice, right? You don't have to sacrifice your family. You don't have to sacrifice your values. You don't have to sacrifice who you are. Who you are is enough, right? Like we've heard that. You have a gift inside of you. You have something that you're passionate about. We are being selfish, right? When we don't go out and share it. But it's really easy to hide behind that excuse of, nobody wants to, and, who's really going to listen to it? That's your head trash right there, right?
I gotta share this with you. You know what you just said? Yeah. Look at this chapter in Larry's book.
You are enough. Demand the best of you. Yes. Yes. Right. Sometimes we have to say yes. Many times we have to say yes, even before we feel ready. But what happens when we step into and we say yes, like when we have faith and we take action, the world shows up to support you, to guide you, and create miracles. Last week, Taylor, I was on the phone with a gal and she's like, Angel, this is what I want. Like, I'm looking for this. This is the impact that I want to make. And so we stepped into it. Like she stepped in, she's like, I don't know how, and I don't know what. Today, less than 1 week later, she has an amazing opportunity to speak to a group of people, to create legislation, to change laws, to protect children. It is amazing and unbelievable. Whereas a week ago, she's like, I have no idea. I don't even know. I'm like, let's step into it. Let's put it out there and let's see what happens. You have to say yes, even before you're ready.
I love this. And I think that's such a lesson for every woman, every woman that hears this, to step out of your comfort zone, to step into your excellence, because you have the answer. You are the answer to somebody's problem. Oh, you are. And so, okay. So I want to get down to like practice step by step. Is okay. They're listening. Okay.
Yeah. So we have our title, right? We have your expertise. Like, this is what I specialize in. This is what I speak on. This is what I'm excited about. Because we can turn that topic, we can turn that energy into, it's a talk, a presentation. Right? Yeah. How to, think about what is it that people are asking, or what are the results that you're solving for. So how to become a millionaire, right? So here we'll just kind of use you and Larry's book, right? How to become a millionaire. You talk about how to become a millionaire. In fact, you wrote the book on it, right? The Millionaire Training, the #1 bestseller, hot new release, right? And you know what else, Taylor? Like, the timing for this, in 5 days from now, Amazon Prime Days. Millions and millions of people are going to be shopping on Amazon over the next couple of, in 5 days from now. There's going to be deal after deal after deal. And guess whose book is a hot new release right now, sitting on Amazon? The timing is unbelievable. It is unbelievable. It is absolutely unbelievable. And so, talking about the book and all of that, like we can get there. But for right now, like, what is it that you are an expert at? Your expert title. We can, create, here's my talk, right? I'm going to come in, I'm going to talk about how to be the answer to their jungle, how to become a millionaire. And then what are the top 3 results that the audience is going to get from hearing you speak, right? Hearing you be interviewed.
Okay.
So here we've got, golden principles that create the top marketers. It could be, the fundamentals, the foundation principles for building a million dollar business. I don't know. Give me a couple of results.
How to employ yourself.
How to employ yourself. Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. The disease of the attitude, the 7 diseases of the attitude of your attitude.
Okay. All right.
The psychology of the sale.
Okay. So did you guys see, like, she didn't have to go look it up. I mean, she had to, maybe just put it into words for a second, but like, it's inside of her. Like, this is what I talk about. This is what I teach. This is what I share with people every day, all day long. Every phone call, everything is about getting people into this space. Every one of us has that, right? These are the things that you're telling other people, I can help you with this, right? Even if it's, I don't know, just changing your coffee, like changing your coffee out to tea, or buying from yourself instead of buying from the store. Like, there are things that you say every day, that you teach, that you talk about to others. It isn't saying, buy my product, buy my stuff, enroll, right? You're helping people. So
Yes.
when we stay in that space, we can now put together an introduction, right? We call it a media pitch, but just think of it as just an introduction, right? I'm going to introduce myself to somebody who has a podcast, somebody who has a stage, somebody who puts events on, maybe has a book club. They have a group of people, ideal clients for me that were not competitive. So I always think about my upstream versus my downstream in business. And what I mean by that is, in my business, I create problems for my clients, right? So when they come to me, even though I'm solving an answer for them, there are other problems that I create. Now they need to publish a book, right? Now they need some opt-in. They might need an opt-in. They might need some graphic design. They might need some automation and technology, things that I don't do, but they need. So those are my upstream partners that I could go to them and say, hey, let's do a stage swap. I'll interview you, you interview me, because we share the same client, but we don't compete because our products are not all competitive. Mm-hmm. And then my downstream are people that they help you get published, right? They help you get a book. You need marketing. They might help you put a website together. You need publicity, right? So now I've got my downstream. I can go to them and do the same thing. Let's do a stage swap. I'll interview you. You interview me. Just a great place to start to get comfortable with sharing my story, sharing my tips, building an audience, speaking to a camera, all of that, getting really comfortable about speaking in front of an audience. And if you just do 2 a week, and it'll build from there. I've got a great podcast site, a podcast matchmaker site, Taylor, where podcasters put out like call for speakers if they're looking for guests. Great little Facebook group here, and we can share that later if that fits. But if they have a podcast, they're looking for guests, they can post it for free on our Facebook group. And then if you can respond directly to that podcaster if you think you're a good fit. And you would respond with, hey, I'm Taylor Thompson, best-selling author, right, of the Millionaire Training. I teach how to build $1 million business. These are the 3 tips that I would share, right? And you could reach out directly to them with value. If they're like, great, I would love to learn that myself. I know my audience would love to learn that. Then they can book you as a guest on their show. We've created a podcast directory of over 200 podcasts and stages and magazines and publications and radio, like everything, in order to hit that 2 interviews a week and 1 press release a month. Then you get to hear my favorite part. I used to always do my sleep mask when I would talk on stage. It's all mirrored. So right? Do not disturb, right? This is my sleep mask, right? Because I would say you can do it from the comfort of your own home, like right from bed. You don't have to go anywhere. Ladies, this is the most comfortable space, right? You get to, I'm in my yoga pants. I'm barefoot. Remember, my socks were on the desk, right? You can share your goodness, right, on somebody else's audience. And then the bookend to that. So I'm the expert on, right? This is what I speak on. I give these great juicy tips, right? How to, be taller, sexier, happier, healthier, wealthier, right? Make them, a happier life, right? And then a call to action. So the bookend to that is, how do you get them into your castle? Getting them into the castle isn't go buy my stuff. The only thing that you could say at the end of that you would send people to buy would be to go buy my book, right? If you have a book, if you are a published author, that's going to open so many doors for you. And that's pretty much the only thing on somebody else's audience that, on somebody else's stage that you could offer. Go and buy my book, right? But most of the time, you're just going to use it to build your list, to get them in your castle. So you want to have a freebie. You want to have something to entice them, right? Here's my calendar. Here's my scripts. Here's my templates. Here's my recipes, right? Here's my, 12 smoothie recipes that I use to keep this, thin little waist. You talked about the disease, the attitude disease. What did you call it?
Yeah, the diseases of the attitude.
Diseases of the attitude, right? You might be able to share some of them, but I've got a whole list, right, of how to counter those diseases, right? The antidotes to those diseases. When you go to my website, taylorthompson.com, get your antidotes to the diseases, right? Fix your attitude, cure your attitude. And when they get there, right, they put their email address in. Now they're in your castle. Now you can engage with them, right? Get them into your Facebook groups and send them email marketing, invite them, to other presentations, invite them to a conversation or a one-on-one with you, right? Then you can engage them because, one, they already trust you, right? That trust transferred over to you instantly. They've already taken action, right? They've done something to get into your castle. They like you triggered something with them. So they're not a cold lead anymore, right? They've heard you, they've reached out to you. So you engaging with them only makes perfect sense. Marketing is the art of starting a conversation. And so you've already eliminated some of those barriers about who are you and what are you and why are you calling me, right? Yeah. They initiated it, like they got in your castle. And so now you're like, hey, welcome to the party. Like, let me show you what we've got here. And because you've given them value in the freebie, the law of reciprocity kicks in, right? You gave me something. I got a result from that. And so now I'm at least willing to check out what it is that you have to offer. I'm at least willing to listen to you, or at least willing to go to this site and watch a video or do something because you already gave me something for free. And so we just rinse and repeat that every single week.
And I want to say this too, because, I would say for me, this has been like a huge kind of stumbling block, because I mean, whenever I say about women thinking, oh, nobody wants to know about that. I mean, whenever I say that, I'm actually talking about myself. Okay. So I know it because this is me.
Yeah.
And this is why, Larry always taught me, because, not very many people get to marry their mentor and live with their mentor. I do. But, he's always taught me this concept of whenever you have one finger pointing out, you've got three coming back. Mm-hmm. And so whenever I say that out loud, I'm literally talking to myself at the same time, because that's where the power comes from. And, if I could give any encouragement because I identify with all of these things and going, okay, what would I talk about? And the reality is, like, there's so many things I could talk about, but some of it I go, whenever it resonated with me, then I was like, I didn't know how to put it all together. Mm. I didn't, and so if you're that person that's listening and you go, well, I've got some things that I could talk about. Yeah, I see some value. Yeah, I know that, I know something that every woman would want to know. Whenever you start to own that, I'm just going to be the voice of encouragement, that don't feel like that you have to have all these technical pieces already put together. Yeah. This is why, the angels of the world exist, right? Because she's the kind of, coach or person that can reach out, that she can tap into that excellence, say, okay, this is how we would put it together. And then you start. So I'm sharing this because don't feel like you have to figure it out on your own.
You don't, right? And I have a nail thing. I have to just bugging me. My nail was like funny. But here's the thing, like we all have a lot of things, right? And how do we pick the one? Like what is going to be the one? And because I want you to just have one signature move, right? Like this is what I'm known for. Yes, I've got a whole lot of stuff in the back here that I could also, but we're going to find the one, and you don't have to know it right off the bat. It might take some practice. It might take some, some market research, right? To figure out what is that one thing that's going to create that excitement, that energy, that low hanging fruit. We don't want to fight for these customers, right? We don't want to fight for these leads. We want to find the people that are out there that are excited and that really already have this challenge that they're going through, that we are the answer to them. Like business should be fun, right? We should work with.
And I really want to throw this out here because I'm going to say this again as loud as I possibly can. If you're in network marketing, let's just say you're selling nutrition products, don't feel like that your excellence has to be about weight loss or nutrition. It could be about, and I say this flippantly, but I mean, it's so valuable. I mean, your excellence could be potty training a 2-year-old in 2 weeks. I mean, right? How many women would love to have that, in they're struggling out there. And I use that as a real life example, but it's true. There's women out there that can't focus on doing their business because they're chasing a 2-year-old around trying to figure out how to get them to go on the potty, right? That's not my expertise, but I'm sharing that as for you to be thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
Don't be thinking about what your lane that you're in. You could be how to train your dog, or how to train your dog not to bark, or I mean, there's so many things that could be like your lane of genius that have zero to do with your product or service that you're in their company with. Zero.
Right? Because what you've done is you've started the conversation, right?
Yes.
And so now you're talking to all these moms who are potty training their kids, and you're like, have you ever, do you have, I don't know, if you have a supplement that helps them, reduce stress, or I don't know what all the vitamins we all need. I have anyways, but having the conversation of, do you take this? Do you need this?
And here's another, my oldest daughter just got married. I mean, maybe you are like, maybe your daughter just got married and you have all the ins and outs of what not to do, planning a wedding, or how to plan a wedding on, a small budget. I mean, right? There's so many things that women do on a daily basis that we resource to find the answer or the solution to. And so I'm really trying to expand your thinking in the way that you can bring value to other people's lives outside of your network marketing and get them into your castle, whatever that excellence is. And then, so what do you do outside of this? Well, I use this service or whatever, and this is what I do part-time because this is where my passion is, and I do this on the part-time, or whatever that story looks like. So I just want to really expand your thinking in that arena. And then, getting on the stages, let's share with them like how would they go?
Where do we even start, right? I'm so glad that you talked about like staying in your passion and what it is, because the conversation is, you can always turn it into, right, and lead it to, but I think it helps to get you out of, I have to sell this person something, right? I have to get them enrolled, because then it starts to feel a little icky, right? I think that's where we get in our heads, right? Because it's not a natural conversation. But, I could talk to you all day long, right? And one of the things, like I have this lipstick, right, that I always wear when I do my videos, right? And so now I could be selling, like it's so easy to make the switch and have the conversation move over. You don't have to lead with the product or service. In fact, I'd rather you didn't, right? I'd rather it be something that people really want to hear and talk about, right? What is it that they are asking about now? getting on the stages, right? There are unlimited opportunities of people that are looking for guests, right? They are looking for content. You wouldn't believe it. Like journalists right now, I mean, there's over 100,000 radio stations. There's 100,000 TV shows, a million magazines, a million podcasts, right? They are looking for guests every single day. There are directories, right, where you can go out and start searching for them. There are services like we have our Facebook group that has them listed, right, that you can go and just start to reaching out to them one person at a time. You could do a stage swap with somebody else that's in your upstream or downstream. I'll invite 10, you invite 10, right? And we can start to put together kind of our own events where we're that OPA for somebody else. And then, from there, right, I've got a directory, like I've got a list of guaranteed places where you can start, because media attracts media and stages attract stages. I mean, even if you just Google, right, like podcasts, like what are the podcasts you like listening to? What are places that you've heard other people speak on? Reaching out to that event producer. You can go to LinkedIn and type in, right, event hosts, podcasters, any of your favorites, and you can reach out them directly with this invitation. It's not, hey, you should have me on your show, but this is the value that I bring, right? I'm an expert in helping babies get potty trained, right, in 2 weeks, right? This is what I'm going to teach your audience. You do that with anybody who's got some type of mom podcast, you're in like Flynn.
Yes.
And then when you're there, you're like, I'm going to give you my guide, right? I put together a guide that I created on Canva, or my series of videos that I recorded on Zoom and have them unlisted on YouTube that I can send people to, right? I'll send you my videos. There's so many different ways that you can get them in the castle, right? Once you have their email address, or once they're following you on your social site, now they're in your community. Now engage with them. But where they come from, where you're going to get them, and how they're going to get there, like there's no limit. And I mean, I've got people that are doing 4 and 5 interviews a day. It can be, you could just be speaking to audiences all day long, but only if you automate the follow-up. I wouldn't recommend more than 2 a week. But if you've got it all automated and on the back end and you can automate the follow-up, then it's like a faucet. You turn it up when you need it and you turn it down when you don't. So, and you can go on vacation, because most of them are pre-recorded, and you can drop them, and you can even be invited to 2 more fresh new audiences even when you're on vacation.
I love it. I love it. So the ladies, listening, like how would they if they maybe a little more advanced, maybe they've got some of these things already happening, and they were like, okay, I need a press release. I need, I've got a book, or I want to write a book. I've got an idea for a book, how would they connect with you, to tell them to the next level,
They can, absolutely. So, I do want to just follow your heart. Right? Say yes even before you're ready. Become obsessed with growing your business, because you get what you think about most of the time. Right? And so building your audience, use other people's audiences to build your audience. Get in front of people who already have your target audience is following them, listening to them by adding value. The secret formula is 2 interviews a week and 1 press release a month. We didn't really even touch on press releases. But if you are not leveraging the power of a press release, you are missing out on incredible exposure and publicity that just builds, right? Creates this incredible consistency.
Would you recommend anybody in business to do a press release?
If you're in business, yes, right?
Because they're brand new. Let's just say they're brand new. Anybody it's a good idea. Is that what you're saying? Because
you're creating, there's no reason to play small, right? There's no reason to play small. Even if you're just a one-stop shop, right? There's no reason to play small. Business is business. And to do a press release for a grand opening, a brand new launch, right? You've published a book. Now you're a bestseller. You've launched a new program. Maybe you've recorded a series of videos. All of it. Yes. Right. You get to celebrate. Now, if you are in a direct sales business and we want to brand you and your story. So your kind of your URL and your brand versus that company's name.
Right.
They have strict guidelines about using their names in public, and because this is an official media document. So if you so now we're getting into stuff, a little deeper of stuff. But if it's your business, your brand, like you can brand your personal name. We could say Taylor Thompson, right, is a published author. Taylor Thompson launched her own Facebook group. Taylor Thompson, we could lead with Taylor, and that's what I would recommend. But I have a starter kit, Taylor. It has 52 press release ideas. It has a list of guaranteed media where if you just send them your pitch, right, guaranteed media exposure, how to get started, where to get started, who to pitch to, what to pitch, how to pitch. And you can get it at my website, makeyourbigimpact.com. That's makeyourbigimpact.com.
Okay, makeyourbigimpact.com. All right. And so, all right. So I'm writing this down. So as we're finishing off here, because we've this so much value, Angel. So, and I know that you and Tina have a morning show that you ladies do every single morning. So you're always looking for guests. This might be a great way for some of the ladies to get from some of their first exposure, like, right? I mean, so you guys take applications for, guests?
We do. So we do a morning show. It's every morning at 11 a.m. Eastern time. It's the Angel and Tina morning show. We're the bright start to your morning. If you reach out, and we've got to give them Tina's email address, but it's tinamtorres@gmail.com. If you reach out to Tina, she's got the application process. I know we're pretty far booked up for the next 3 weeks, but it is it's really great practice because it's unscripted. You don't have to have a presentation all pulled together. This is part of where interviews are so great. Having this conversation back and forth. It's not like you have to have a scripted presentation, a signature talk. Right. You just know, this is my lane, right? This is what I'm expert at. These are the results that they get, these top 3 results. This is my call to action of how you get them in the castle. That truly is. And it's the same every time. And you start to feel like a talking parrot because you're like, I say the same thing. I want you to become the expert, right? This is it. And so then you're always hashtag media ready. You don't have to figure it out. Like, what am I going to talk about? What am I going to present? Right? These are the things that you do in your sleep, that you do all day long, that you think is just normal, right? And ordinary, but it truly is magic to other people.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for being here this evening, taking time away from your family and sharing with the ladies here. It's been such amazing, so much value. So, yeah, this is always a piece that most people never get to and never have the resources for, so this has been quite a treat. So I appreciate you.
That's one of the benefits, right, of them being in the She Network, right? That they're members and you get this higher level and this connection, right? If you want to run a $1 million business, you got to hang out with millionaires. And so that's what Taylor's bringing to the table. I'm just super excited. Thanks for having me.
Yes. Okay. Well, thank you, doll. And ladies, thank you so much for being here tonight. And yeah, so we've got a great lineup next week. I can't wait for you to hear the story next week. So it's Twyla Porter, really awesome. So that's it for us, ladies. I'm going to say bye to you privately. Angel, ladies, have a blessed evening. Taylor Thompson, She Network, Angel Tuccy. Bye-bye.